How's everybody doing? Today I'm going to show you yet another technique on how to measure the performance of your paid installs. So behind me we have an example ad network 16, and we're looking at the percentage of those installs that become a monetizer over time by days since install, and we're comparing different months for the same ad network, because what we're trying to do is see if an ad network or ad partner's performance gets better over time. So behind me, you can see that we're comparing December 2024 installs to December 2023 installs for ad network 16. And you can see that this ad network or ad partner is improving over time, which is fantastic because it gives you the signal to reinvest in this specific ad network to support your online business and to support the paid install channel. So as you can see, if you compare these two different install months, December 2024 is converting non-monetizers or installs to monetizers at a better rate than December 2023 by about 15%. So let's move over to MySQL and I'll show you exactly how to do this on a technical level so that you can replicate it for your own business. Okay, here we are. So the first thing we need to do is we just need to look at installs and filter those installs down to ad network 16. So within our mobile games database, we have a table called fact player installs. All right, and we just want to filter this data down for just paid installs from ad network 16. So we will do attribution, attribution name equals ad network 16. And let's run a few records. Okay, cool. So we have what we need. The next thing I would do is select the very first install instance per customer, because it is possible that ad network 16 may have acquired the same customer several times over different time periods. So let's just select the very first install per customer for ad network 16. So we'll do customer ID. Then we'll do min install date, and we just give it the same name of install date. And then because this is an aggregate function, let's just group by customer ID. Okay, cool. Let's run a few records. And you know what? Let's just keep the ad network name in here so that we can see these customers installed on ad network 16. So just add that field to your group by, and you should be good to go. Cool. So we have customer ID, ad network 16, and their install date or very first install instance. Okay, so from their install date, we want to calculate the percentage of those installs that became a monetizer over time. So we're going to have to bring in leading date values so that we can check by X days since install, have they become a monetizer? So let's go ahead and do that. We will call this subselect installs. And bring up these fields. And then we want to bring across all dates that are greater than or equal to the install date so that we can look at those leading date values and check to see if they've become a monetizer yet. So we do have a table of dates, and we're just going to join over to it. It's called dim date, and it actually looks like this. We're missing a from, so let's add that in. There we go. So our second column in this date table has all of the dates that we need. So we have this install subselect, and we're going to do a left join over to this date table, and we're going to call it dates, and we'll do it on the date column from the dates table has to be greater than or equal to the installs dot install date. So what is this going to do? This is going to bring across all dates that are greater than or equal to the install date. And we can call this leading dates. And then let's do a date diff between this leading date and this install date, and call this days since install. Okay, so here's our query so far. Let's go ahead and run a few records. See if this join works. It does, so we're doing pretty good. So we have our installs from Ad Network 16 and their install date, and we're bringing across all leading dates or dates that are greater than or equal to the install date. And with that information, we're calculating days since install. Now, the next thing we need to do is for each of these leading date values, we need to check to see if that install has become a monetizer yet. So it's something like this. This person installed 2 days ago. Have they become a monetizer yet? This person installed 35 days ago. Have they become a monetizer yet? And this is happening systematically for all of these leading date values. And I'll show you how we're going to accomplish that through a very simple flag. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go to our revenue table and identify the very first purchase date for each of our monetizers. So we do have a table called fact player revenue. And it's just revenue transactions per customer. And now the only thing we need to do is very simply just take the customer ID and take the min on the purchase date. We can just call this first purchase date. And we want to group by customer ID. Okay, great. So we have 2 subselects. We have our installs, their install date, attribution network 16, and then all of those leading dates starting at the install date. And then for each of those leading dates, we want to see if they become a monetizer yet, because ultimately we want to look at the percentage of the install cohort that has become a monetizer over time since their installation date or installation month. And in this case, that's going to be December 2023 versus December 2024. And we're going to look at the first 30 days of data. And just for further context, the date of this recording is February 8th, 2025. So we'll have a little more than 30 days of leading data for December 2024, so we'll be good. Okay, so let's take this first sub-select and we'll wrap it in a larger one and we'll call this installs, and we will call this revenue. And let's just bring up all the fields from our previous sub-select. Let's make sure the prefix is the same. Let's remove this calculation. This is just going to be installs. So the prefix is the name of the subselect. Let's just do a quick run of records here. Okay, great. Now, what we're going to do is join over to this revenue table, and we'll do it on customer ID, and we'll do it where the first purchase date is less than or equal to this leading date value. And if it is, then we know that by this point in time, this customer or install has become a monetizer. Awesome. So let me show you exactly how to do this. We'll do a left join. Over to revenue on the customer ID equals the revenue.customer ID, and then the first purchase date from table 2 right here has to be less than or equal to the installs dot leading date. Right? So what that logic means is for this customer, if their first purchase date is less than or equal to February 2nd, 2025, then by this point in time, they become a monetizer and we can flag them as such. We can flag them as a monetizer. So let's go ahead and do that in a new column we're going to create together now. We will simply say case when this value from table 2 is not null, then 1 else 0 end. And we will call this the monetizer flag. Let's see if this join works. Okay, so let's try to rerun this again. I did not include the S here on leading dates, so it should be leading dates and not leading date. Okay, fantastic. So here's our data set, and again, we have our installs and we have all of those leading date values. And you can see the first preview of the brand new column we added, which is the monetizer flag. And what this shows is that for this customer ending in 557, by January 26, 2025, they've become a monetizer, meaning they either bought for the first time on January 26, 2025, or on some previous date between their install date and this date value right here. So pretty informative. Okay, so the one thing I want to do is, if you remember our analysis, we want to segment this by install month. We want to compare December 2024 to December 2023 and compare the first leading 30 days after install. So what we will do is this. We will do date format and take the install date, and we will change the formatting to the first day of the month. And I'm going to call this install month. So what that's going to do is it'll take an install date like December 13th, 2024, and convert it to December 1st, 2024, so that we can take all December installs and group them to December 1st, 2024, and thereby compare them to December 1st, 2023 for December 2023 installs. Okay, great. So here's our install month column. Okay, so we are ready to group this data. So I'm going to call this ag. And here's what we want to do. The x-axis of our chart is going to be days since install. So it's going to be a dimension or something that we group up to. We'll do days since install. Okay. And then we're also going to group up to the install month. So the values will be December 2024 or December 2023. And then if we simply do a count, this will be installs grouped by these two dimensions up here. And then we also need a count or summation for the percentage of those installs that have become a monetizer by days since install. So let's take that monetizer flag, and all we need to do is just sum it. And again, the big question is, how is Ad Network 16 doing over time? Can we compare December 23 to December 2024 and see, hey, are they improving in terms of getting high quality installs into our product and having them convert from non-monetizer to monetizer at a higher rate over time? And if so, that'll give us the signal to reinvest in them or to continue to invest in them. Okay, let's aggregate this data. So there is our final query. I will make this query available on the education platform goingforgoldlearning.com, where you'll be able to access both this video and all the practice files, including this MySQL file or script. So let's run our final query. And I'll zoom in so you can see this query a little better. Okay, fantastic, everybody. Here is our data. Now we're ready to move this over to Excel and create our analysis. Okay, so here we are in Excel, and the only thing we need to do is just create one more column. Percent convert to monetizer. So this is the percentage of our install cohort that has become a monetizer by days since install, so that we can pinpoint points in time. So we will divide conversions to monetizer or monetizers divided by installs. Let's turn this into a percentage. And then let's go ahead and create a pivot table. We'll put install months across the top in the form of columns, days since install on the rows, and then percent convert to monetizer on the values. And then for the column labels, we just want to compare December 2024 to December 2023. And then we just want to look at the leading 30 days of data. So go to label filters and go to less than or equal to 30. And let's go ahead and go to design and remove grand totals. Let me thicken these trend lines here. And honestly, this is exactly what we want to see. So what we're doing is we're comparing two install cohorts from the same ad network or ad partner, ad network 16. We're comparing installs from December 2023 to December 2024, and we're looking at the percentage of those installs that have become a monetizer in the leading 30 days. And as you can see, the orange trend line represents December 2024 and the blue trend line represents December 2023. And for this specific ad partner, Ad Network 16, they're really improving year over year when it comes to the percentage of their installs that become a monetizer. As you can see in this instance, the improvement has been over 15% year over year for the month of December, which is great because as a business owner, you can feel confident reinvesting money into this ad partner when it comes to managing your paid install volume. So again, thank you very much for joining me on today's tutorial. And if you would like access to the practice files, please find both the practice files and the video at goingforgoldlearning.com. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic rest of your day.